The U.S. has a huge World Cup showdown, of course, tonight with Belgium. And now one of their stars will be on the pitch after FIFA on Sunday shocked the tournament by sidelining the suspension of U.S. soccer star Folarin Balogun, who was supposed to sit out due to that red card in the previous game.
I understand sports really well. And that wasn't a foul. That wasn't even an infraction. That was two guys running full speed that happened to crash into each other.
All right, that's Donald Trump bragging about how he intervened to get the red card revoked so that Balogun, our star player, could play in the World Cup. We have several stars, but he's certainly among them. I have a bit of a controversial take on it that I think probably both sides will hate, so you can enjoy that in a minute. But first, Anna's gonna give us more of the facts of the case.
Okay, as the company's sports expert, I'm very excited to explain to you and summarize what's going on here, so bear with me. So Balogun was hit with a red card during last Wednesday's game between the US and Bosnia and Herzegovina. So apparently, since these are two little countries, or smaller countries, I should say, you have the US team battling it out between these two smaller countries. Okay, now according to The Athletic, as the ball was played up the left sideline, which I totally understand what that means, from Anthony Robinson in the 61st minute, with the US leading 1-0, Balogun reached out and tried to get his body in position. As he did so, he landed on the back of the leg of the opposing team's player, raking down the calf and landing on the defender's ankle. It did not look like an intentional foul, but rather the forward landing awkwardly. On the slow motion replay, however, it looked like a strong tackle, and there was no doubt that Balogun made rough contact on the defender. Now, Yahoo Sports stated that the foul was initially not deemed card-worthy by the referee. The referee's name is Rafael Klaus, who apparently has a little bit of a shady history. It was only after he was sent to re-watch the play that, at that point he realized, the official Juan Soto realized that, this should be deemed a red card. So, long story short, the American player gets the red card. Here's a photo of that moment if you didn't see it for yourselves. Now, as a result, Balogun had to sit out the rest of the match and was given a 1-match suspension if the US team advanced to the next round. Well, the US team advanced to the next round. So this has been seen as an extremely harsh punishment for the American player, with many people saying that it was accidental contact, it wasn't intentional. Now, the appeals for the reversal of the red card is where things get super spicy. So early reporting indicated that the US could not appeal Balogun's suspension. According to FIFA's rulebook, if a player or team official is sent off as a result of a direct or indirect red card for a second yellow card, they will automatically be suspended from their team's subsequent match. Rule 10.5 also specifies that further penalties can be added. Nothing in the section about yellow and red cards says anything about the 1-match ban being subject to an appeal. And that fact was confirmed to The Athletic by FIFA sources late Wednesday night. If Balogun had been sent off for a red card for violent conduct, then the appeals process could have been brought into play. However, last night, FIFA announced that Balogun could play, and it was after the Trump administration got involved. I'm not gonna get into every minor detail of this, okay?
Yeah,
so
I got it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so guys, there's two different issues here, right? One, should he have gotten a red card? And that's controversial enough as it is, but it's also related to the second and bigger issue, which is, should Trump have intervened in this case, and should FIFA have listened to Trump intervening? Who's wrong, who's right? Should Balogun play? So, first, we're asking you guys in a poll on tyt.com. Do you think Trump advocating for Team USA in the World Cup was appropriate? A, yes, our president should fight for us with everything he's got. B, no, political leaders should stay out of referee decisions.
What do you mean fight for us? Fight for us?
Yeah, no, I'm standing by that. So this is part of what's making people angry, okay? So look, our politicians never do anything for us, okay? So my position, not necessarily winning, but my position is complicated and more nuanced than that. So And so to have an American president actually care about Team USA and try to do something to correct what some view as an injustice, I don't know, that's like the first time an American president has done anything for us in so long. So there was some part of it that I definitely liked. I mean, so would the leaders of other countries try to intervene in a situation like this? I don't know, like would the Belgians, if they were in a similar situation, say, no, our leaders, please don't fight for us. Don't fight for us, don't talk to FIFA. No, have our star be totally eliminated on a totally unfair call, but we don't want your help. I don't think so. I think they're full of it. I think that every country is biased, and if you had your leaders fight for you, you would like it, okay? And I always think shoe on the other foot. If Obama had done it, would I be in favor of an American president trying to get us some sort of justice? If you think it's justice, yes. Now, guys, that doesn't mean that I think, unreservedly it was great, the whole thing was terrific, and FIFA should have reversed it, okay? What I think is, I'm happy about that part, and that's plenty controversial in and of itself. But in terms of like, I get the concern about politicians interfering with sports. I obviously get it. And so the guilty party here is, if one exists, and one likely does exist, it's FIFA, right? So brother, if you've got rules on red card appeals, you've got to follow your rules on red card appeals, okay? So, and it's like when we get mad at Israel on a totally different issues in our domestic politics. Yeah, we get mad at Israel, but mainly we get mad at our own politicians and our own media because our politicians are supposed to represent us. FIFA is supposed to represent worldwide soccer, and they're supposed to be unbiased. So the French president, the American president, anybody else could try to pressure them, but FIFA is supposed to resist that pressure. And so I get why everybody else is angry at us, and what I can't stand is it's now going to taint America's, results here.
Of course it is.
Of course, it's going to be a giant asterisk.
No, this is a bad move by the Trump administration. He should not have done this. And the reason why I say that, Cenk, I get the urge to because we're so starved for political leadership that actually looks out for us. I get the urge to want to defend what the Trump administration did. I'm not going to defend it specifically because this is embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have your daddy come in and wag his finger at FIFA and be like, you better revoke that, red card.
No.
It's so embarrassing.
So now, look, I want to go back and argue about the red card in a second, but I don't want people mistaking what I'm saying, because at the end of the day, when you consider the red card, was it fair or unfair? Should Trump have intervened or not? The bottom line is, was there an injustice here? If they didn't follow the regulations on red card appeals, yes, there was an injustice. And then that taints the whole World Cup. And now you look at it in the context of FIFA overall. They gave Trump that nonsense peace prize.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to bring that up.
Right.
Yes.
So obviously FIFA is bending to the will of Trump.
Yes.
And that's what taints the sport.
Yes.
And that's what I'm bothered by. So, and the other issue here is the context of us being so powerful in the world. If Uruguay had their leader had petitioned FIFA, and FIFA thought, well, he's making a good point, and they overturned their decision, that would be less outrageous because nobody thinks Uruguay is going to bully FIFA, right? But could America bully FIFA? Well, apparently they made up a peace prize to give to Trump. So there's something weird going on with FIFA and Trump.
Yeah, and
so
also,
that's why I get why people are mad. Now on the red card, I gotta say something because every soccer fan, football fan is like, no, red card malice doesn't matter. And that picture is terribly misleading. So what actually happened in the game is Balogun went in for a tackle and he hit the ball first, and then his cleats did hit the guy, and that's what you're seeing, right? And you can call a foul on that. In fact, that is a foul, no question about it, okay? Even if you had no bad intent, and even if you hit the ball first, if you go cleats up and hit the guy's shin, it's a foul. But is it a red card? Everybody goes, of course it is. No, it's not true. Let me read to you guys. This is under the category of serious foul play for a red card. There are other categories for red cards, but this is the one that applies in this case. So using excessive force or brutality in a tackle that endangers the safety of an opponent. So whether the person was using excessive force or brutality is relevant to whether they get a red card or a yellow card or a normal foul. Giving a red card there is super extreme for a guy who hit the ball first and did not show excessive force or brutality and didn't even seem to mean to hit the guy. Yes, it's still a foul, but no, it is not a guaranteed red card. That is just not true. So I think what happened in the first place was terribly unjust to America, but now nobody's gonna know or care about that. All they're gonna care about is the injustice back. And I'll give one last thing as an asterisk to the Belgians, okay? The rest of the world caring about what's fair and not fair in the World Cup makes sense. The rest of the world caring about American or Trump interference in FIFA and a questionable decision to revoke the red card makes sense, right? The Belgians demanding to play with one of our best players out, to me, that's just crying over, oh, why do we have to play the whole American team? We wanted to play a weakened American team without one of your top stars, and boo-hoo, now we have to play your whole team. And we're so weak that we're gonna cry about it all week long, okay? So no, if I'm a Steelers fan, which I am, and the league disqualifies Mahomes from a playoff game, maybe I'm happy for a minute because I want the Steelers to advance, right? But I don't brag about it like, oh, we demand to have Mahomes not play. We want to play them when they don't have their best players, so we could brag later about beating a team without their best players. Well, okay, whatever. I guess you're proud of that. So no, yeah, if you're sensing a little bit of pride in me and sticking up for my country, you sense the goddamn right, okay? So look, I love a lot of the other teams in the World Cup, but you come and cry about, oh no, I demand that you not have your best players, and then like somehow that you think that makes you a hero? No, Belgium, it doesn't make you a hero. I hope America wins 6-0. Anyway.
So I might agree with you based on the way it's been reported. I might agree with you on the red card being unfair, okay? But putting that aside, I just think it's not a good look to have our government intervene. And just to give you more details on how our government intervened, it wasn't just Trump, it was also Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick.
What is he doing?
And also Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House Task Force on the World Cup. They spring into action. You wanna know what they did? They got lawyers involved, okay? They engaged lawyers to help the US Soccer Federation try to appeal despite FIFA's rules against such appeals, according to two people familiar with the call. Now, Scott Goodwin, a hedge fund manager and major donor to US soccer, brought to the attention of Trump officials public accusations that Rafael Klaus, the referee, was involved in match fixing in Brazil by giving out irregular red cards. But hold on, pause for a second. In the end, he wasn't the one who made the decision on the red card.
No, he was. So yeah, they VAR'd it and they talked to people in the studio as well. But no, look, guys, I'm so torn on it because I don't want politicians interfering,
no, it's terrible.
And I don't want rich people coming in and hiring lawyers and going after the ref, etc. On the other hand, the calls that ref made were outrageous in my opinion. I know I'm biased, but it was like 5, 6 giant calls against America to the point where I turned around to my wife who doesn't care and was like, is this ref even honest? What's going on here? Like, because it's not like it hasn't happened before, and it's not like it hasn't happened with this ref before. So like, I didn't know any of that history, and watching the game, I thought this is really bizarre before the red card, okay?
And by the way, just to do my due diligence here for the audience, because I don't want to misinform you, let's go to graphic 10 here. Brazilian authorities and FIFA have found no evidence of wrongdoing by Klaus, but Trump brought up those allegations in his call with FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the people familiar with the call said. So look, it would be far more impressive if the US team was able to beat Belgium without the star player. I think they have the capacity to do it. Now, I do think all of the shenanigans that have transpired will take away from the US win. If the US does win, I would have preferred to not politicize the World Cup, but Trump and his cronies decided to do that. I don't think it's a good look, so I do disagree with you. But you shouldn't take it too personally because I know nothing about sports or soccer. So
okay, all right. I can't help but say the last two things.
Okay.
So look, earlier in the show, we talked and was enraged about the story about 10 Americans being killed by Israelis in the last 3 years, and our government barely even ask for the murderers to get arrested, and none of them have been arrested.
Exactly.
So like, if you're not an American, I'm trying to explain to you the context of you don't get it because we made bribery legal in America. So our politicians are the most disgustingly corrupt people in the whole country, and they never serve us. Even if you kill American citizens, they don't care. Instead they serve the other country, right? So in that context, we're so starved for an American leader to do anything for Americans that's why there's a little bit of reflexively like, wow, I can't believe they bothered to actually fight for America on anything. And Belgians, try to run out the clock. That's a great strategy. Please do that, okay?
Is that what they do?
Yeah, in my opinion, and then people will say, oh no, you don't understand the nuance and blah, blah, blah.
Is that illegal?
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's a super dumb strategy where some teams, usually European teams, try to run out the clock forever and ever and ever, and think, oh great, we'll score one goal and run out the clock, and then they get, I think it's a terrible strategy. It allows the other team to shoot over and over and over again. So please, Belgium, do the normal dumb strategy you do, okay? Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.